G'day my suckies, it's Jazzy Q7 here. How you going today? I hope you guys are having a good day. Drop a comment below if you are, and we'll find out what's going on. So today, I think I'm going to be talking about my work. What I've been getting up to in the day to day, between recording videos and sleeping and catching up with friends. So every day I go out to work, and just before I go out to work, I make a video. And so even today, I've got to do this video just before I go out for work. My work is not the best work, but it's something that will get me by. Pay for the petrol, pay for the fun times with mates, and potentially pay for my uni and anything else like that. I just got to start off somewhere. So I mentioned a little while ago in one of my other videos, my video being my friend's worst night out, how we went and did a barista course at the start of the day. And that was good and all. And obviously, once you've done a barista course or you've gone and learned how to make coffee, you kind of want to use that to some point or some degree. And I wanted to use that straight away, but the big issue with learning how to do this stuff is it's still difficult to get jobs, especially in South Australia, where finding jobs is a little bit tough because everyone else is kind of trying to find the same kind of thing. When you're going for jobs and stuff, they generally look for people who've already had experience. And I'd had experience with jobs and stuff, but the only experience that I'd really had with jobs was a lot of manual labor. And manual labor is good to some extent, but it's not going to help you when dealing with customers and dealing with checkouts and stuff like that and dealing with people in general. So if you can't write on your resume that you know how to deal with people, obviously someone doesn't really want to hire you. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go around and drop my resume anyway and hope for the best. Hope someone's going to hire me, even though I haven't got any of experience or anything. All I have is this barista training that I did one time. And strangely enough, just before I went applying for any of these jobs for barista training or just lending out my service for free just as a bit of volunteering experience, I got a call up from a petrol station. Petrol station near my local town, but not heaps close, near to where my parents worked. And they were like, "Hey, we saw your resume. You seem all right, so we'll hire you. But we need you to have an interview with us." And luckily enough, I had this barista training because they have a coffee machine where I work. So I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm in for this. I'll come in. I'll do a bit of barista stuff and I'll do a bit of the petrol servo service." So I went in for my job interview and they thought I was good. They thought I was confident and they hired me. Obviously, they were a bit understaffed at the time, so that's why they were looking for new people. And I ended up saying I could work for day shift and night shift. And as a legal adult in Australia, I can probably be more trusted in night shifts and I can deal with customers that aren't as great, which is good. So I just took that opportunity and then they just plopped me on night shifts. Now, my first shift was just to get used to the kind of job. So they dropped me in during the day, and the training was alright. They showed me what I had to do, but they didn't seem to do everything according to code of conduct or whatever. I followed it up like later. Like they had a checklist that they were supposed to go through, which they seemed to go through with other stuff, but they didn't go through with me. So I've got patchy knowledge occasionally about what I should do, which is fine because I can just call up the manager, but it's still not that great. So I didn't have a best start with this job. The good thing is though that they had a lot of training shifts. So they had maybe 6 or 8, and it wasn't unpaid training shifts like other places. I know I've heard horror stories from other people where they're like, "Oh yeah, I went in for a training shift and they didn't pay me," which is illegal. Do not do that. That is not good. Unless you decide to go in and be a person who's volunteering, then you shouldn't have to pay for your training shift by not getting paid. You're learning under them and they decided to hire you at your current state. They should pay to train you. Anyway, the night shift guy that I work with at first, when I started going for predominantly night shifts, he was a chill bloke. We had good conversations. He was just laid back kind of guy. He just wanted to get a little bit of money for unis and just day to day stuff, which is the same as me. So I have no quarrel with them. Night shift guys are generally fine. The one big issue though is we got a new manager just as I came in. So it's a bit difficult to figure things out when you've got a new manager who doesn't necessarily know everything about everything that's been happening in that store and the area. So the area I live in is very like safe and stuff, but this new manager is applying all these new things, and so everyone's getting confused about what's actually happening. All the staff and even me and even her. So she's making it all safe and stuff, but it's already even more safe because of our area. So it's a bit of a not so great situation for all of us. We just have to bear it out until she gets her bearings and bear it out till I get my bearings. So I think when time goes on, it's going to be less of all these new extra things we have to do and more, streamlined and not so difficult. But getting to know some of the staff has been pretty interesting. When you do a shift, you're on your own unless there's like an extra manager there. Um, so far, there's no night manager, so every night so far I've been working on my own. It's been very lonely. No one's been around except for people coming in. And they say, oh yeah, you can call the manager whenever you want, but I've called the manager plenty of times and they have not been able to respond because it's the middle of night. You don't expect that. So I've ended up having to call some other night shift staff. So I think one of the best improvements they could make is a night shift manager. So if anything bad happens, I can actually, rely on someone instead of just being relying on some staff who don't actually know the ins and outs of like the things that I'm actually doing. During the start of the shift's always been pretty fun as well, because at the start of the shift, I'm like talking with the people who are just about to switch over, and I get to hear all the gossip about what's going on just like in all the day shifts with the manager. And apparently this one girl I've been chatting with, I'm not going to give her name again because we don't want to dox people here. She was just ranting about this manager and how much they hate each other, and like they've been fighting against each other like female dogs, if you get what I mean. And it's been a lot of texting and a lot of disagreements, especially with phones, because they have a phone policy that is kind of rubbish if you ask me, because there's a lot of times when you're doing nothing and they have absolutely no tolerance for phones. So naturally, me being the sneaky loophole person I am, I take advantage of this. Personally, I don't use my phone through shifts and stuff. The main reason they don't want you to use your phone is because it can distract you during work. So I don't bring my phone. I reverted back to what I was talking about the other day. DSs. I have a DS with me that I take to work and I play when I'm super bored. Because there can be, in night shifts, there can be like 2 hours at a time when you're completely done everything and no one's coming in and it's completely boring. So what are you gonna do? You know? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna play DS because there's nothing saying I can't, If there's nothing saying you can't, guys, make sure you take advantage of that because it's not stopping you. Nothing's stopping you except you. But yeah, I really do like chatting with the other staff, especially when the next shift happens, because you definitely get to hear about everything. And you get closer to people, and it's always good to get close with people because I believe more contacts is always good. It's always good to be able to chat with people when you need to. Also, especially in work, because sometimes you need someone to cover your shift, but you have no one there and you need someone. So if you know staff already and you know the people you're working with, it makes it a lot easier just to relate to what they're doing. So you can be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I know you've got such and such on tonight, but I really need this. My such and such has gotten in an accident or something. Can you cover my shift?" Anyway, suckies, that's it for today. I'm gonna talk about things that happen with, people coming in next video, I reckon. But for now, that's all I'm gonna do. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day as always, and I'll catch you in the next one.